This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good Erev Shabbos, Rabbi Glatstein. I want to welcome all of our Torah Anytime viewers. I want to listen to those joining us live at J-Root Radio. And we're here in Kew Garden Hills, New York, in the Young Israel of Kew Garden Hills Kollel for Talmidei Chachamim. And we're speaking about the Yom Tif of Pesach and the Haggados shel Pesach, and we have something incredible. We know that we like here to speak out the Svarim of the Chida. And a number of years ago, the Olam gave me a wonderful gift, maybe the best present I ever got, all the Svarim of the Chida. So I didn't even know this, but the Chida wrote 6 Haggados on Pesach. Wow. I just saw the volume has Haggados shel Pesach. There are actually 6 different Perushim from the Chida. In the past, we've quoted only one of them, so today we're going to quote from all the other 5 Haggados of the Chida, something quite amazing. Now, I hope you remember Wednesday night Shiur. Wednesday night Shiur was about the number what?
216.
216. Well, we're in the mode of numbers, and an amazing thing. If you look, we know that Leil Pesach, the minhag is after the Haggadah, we recite Shir HaShiurim. And as well as Shabbos Chol Hamoed Pesach, the Megillah that we lay in is Megillas Shir HaShiurim. And how many psukim in Shir HaShiurim? We have a siman at the end of Shir HaShiurim. Skum psuke sefer Shir HaShiurim Mea v'shiva asar. 117 psukim in Shir HaShiurim. How do we remember that? The simane v'chikeich kiyein hatoiv hoylech ledoidi. The way to remember that is, well, Kiyain is 90. Hailech Lidoidi, this is considered 117. Okay, so that's the number of psukim. The question is, why are there 117 psukim in Shir HaShiurim? So the Sefer Masei Rokeach of the Rabbi Glatstein is sort of the father of bells, but it goes well before there was any even origins of Chasidus. He was the chief rabbi of Amsterdam. In fact, he was such a widely respected personality that they minted a coin with his picture on it. And Rabbi Yaakov Emden says that he saw the coin and it was considered a big honor, and he wrote a perush on Mishnayos al pi Kabbalah, and in his Hakdama to Masechta Shabbos, the Masei Rokeach deals with why are there in fact 117 psukim in Shir HaShiurim. V'gam lama amar Shlomo HaMelech b'sefer Shir HaShiurim kuf yud zayin psukim loy pachos v'loy yoser, not more and not less. What's the significance? Well, very interesting. Tam Echad, Kfar Nishma Mishmei B'chol Bati Midrashos. There's one reason that's already well known in my name in all the Bati Midrashos. V'huzeh the Isa b'Medrash Chazis Kol Masei Shlomo Hayim Meshulashin. Everything Shlomo did, he did in 3s. So, for example, he wrote Shir HaShiurim, Koheles, and Mishlei. He was also over 3 Averos. Avar Harbe loy susim, he had too many horses. Herbe loy nashim, he had too many wives. Herbe loy kesef izav, he also had too much money. Okay, so he had
First 2 I understand.
Right? Well, he collected too many horses, too many wives, and too much money. V'gam lefnei zeh yisasham. We also find there Shemaser Shlomo Yedom La'aviv, that Shlomo's activities were similar to his father. Ad David Amar Shiurim, Ushloimei Amar Shir HaShiurim. Rabbi Shimon Levi Amar, Ho v'es Makishay mikol tzad. Just like his father was Nimchal, he was also Nimchal. So the Mefarshim say like this: anyone who says Shira on a nest that happens to them, all of his sins are forgiven. And we find that after the Shira Sayam, Vayasa Moshe Yisrael, that he moved them away from their sins. So listen to this. David and Shlomo, they both sang Shira, they were both Nimchal. Now how many Averos was Shlomo violate? 3. 3 times. La yarbe loy susim, la yarbe l'cha nashim, la yarbe l'cha kesav azav. So each lav, how many malchus are you supposed to get? 39. 39 times 3 is 117. Right? So he was chayiv 117. And through Shir Shiurim, when you sing a shira, your averos are nimchal. So it comes out perfectly. He was supposed to get 117 malchus, and he was nimchal through the 117 psukim of a shira. But wait a second. The Torah says, how many malchus do you get? 40. So the question is, Shlomo really should have wrote 120 psukim. Ach b'Torah kasav arba'am yakenu. The rabbis, the Torah Shabbat were the ones who were mamayed it. So how does Shlomo start Shir HaShiurim? Shir HaShiurim Ashel Shlomo. Shir is 1. Shiurim is another 2. Why am I singing 3 songs? Because I'm chayiv 117 malchus. I should be chayiv 120. What's the next pasuk? Yishakeni min ashikois piyu ki toivim doidecha miyayin chazal darshin. The words of the rabbis are more beloved than the wine of Torah. Why is Shlomo praising the rabbi? Shlomo has to start off. By the way, you want to know why am I only writing 117 psukim? Thank goodness for those rabbis who diminished my punishment from 40 to 39. This way I was able to save the time of having to write an extra 3 psukim.
Well, what's from Moshe?
Shaloi tiksha, so you don't ask Kabatarek Sarabam Yakenu. Imken Hoyaloi Laimar Oid Gimel Psukim. Therefore he says Yishakeni min Ashikos Piyu V'Darshino Minei Chavivin Divrei Soifrim Yosem Divrei Torah Nimsa Shaper Hu Kuf Yud Zayim Psukim. And that's why Shlomo gives credit to the rabbis at the beginning of Shir HaShiurim. Okay, so this is a very beautiful explanation for why Shir HaShiurim has 117 psukim. But like we like to do, we're going to say another explanation for why there are 117 psukim in Shir HaShiurim based on 5 different Haggados of the Chida. Okay, so if you felt that in the past we haven't given sufficient focus on the Haggados of the Chida, well, let's put that to rest today. Okay, so first the Chida wrote a sefer Zroya Yamin, parish on the Haggadah. So the Haggadah shel Pesach. Tam mahu oimer. What does the Tam say? Ma zois. Vas geitan v'amarta elav b'choizek yad hotzion Hashem mitzrayim mibeis avadim. Says the Chida. Let's explain the shaila of the Tam. Rabbeinu Ephraim writes in his commentary to the Torah. Now you have to know the commentary of the Torah of Rabbeinu Ephraim was not published until the 20th century. So how does the Chida know what Rabbeinu Ephraim wrote? The Chida was a great man, but he did not invent the time machine. So how did the Chida know what only was published in the 20th century? He says, Ksav Yad, he saw it in the manuscript form. Okay? What does Rabbeinu Ephraim write? Ki hu amar de kuf yud zayin shanim hayashibad Mitzrayim. That we were in Mitzrayim, not 430, and not 400, and not 216, and not 86, like we've explained in the past, but 117 years. A new number. The Shibud is 117 years. And what do I have to say about that? And me in my poverty, I wrote, he got it, he hit it nail on. And not only that, V'shuvra yisi b'mefarshim shehiviu miseder olam shekasa b'peirosh that mipetiras Levi at sheyatzu miMitzrayim kuf yod zayin shanim. From the death of Levi until we left Mitzrayim, 117 years. Now you'll ask, okay, who cares that from the death of Levi until we left Mitzrayim it's 117 years? What does the death of Levi got to do with the Shibud Mitzrayim? So let's just take a look at number 10. Ve'ela shemois b'nei Levi l'saldoisam Gershon ukahas umerari u'shnei chaye Levi sheva u'shloishim u'ma'as shana. Says Rashi, Lama nimnu shnoisav shel Levi l'haidia kama yemei hashibud shekol zman she'echad min hashvatim kayim, as long as one of the shvatim are alive, loy haya shibud shenemar vayamas Yosef v'chol echav. So when Yosef died and all the brothers, that's only then the new king of Egypt arose. So who outlived all the Shvatim? Levi. The Levi Herach Yam Al Kulam. So we have a Beferish Rashi who's quoting Seder Olam that the Shibud would not begin until the death of the Shvatim, and the Shevet that outlived the others was Levi. That means the Shibud did not begin until the death of Levi. Okay. Now we have to try to figure out then how many years was it from the death of Levi until we left Mitzrayim. But the Chida continues. Ika hashta kana ben shayal hoylech betumai. This is what the Tam asks. Ma'azois, meaning the Tam's sitting around the table, and he sees his mother's been schwitzing away for the last 4 months, and everybody is, his father's been working overtime to pay the bills so that everybody could look nice, and that there's to be a nice table set, and everybody's been, putting in the hard work to prepare for Yetzias Mitzrayim. And the Tam is sitting there like he says, I don't get the whole thing. We're celebrating God took us out of Mitzrayim. He told us He's going to take us out of Mitzrayim. So if He told us He's going to take us out of Mitzrayim, what's the big deal? V'haloi kach hivtiach HaKadosh Baruch Hu kelemes la'Avraham, He says, v'gam es hagoy asher yavodu dononoichi v'achrei chen yeitzu b'chush gadol. So therefore, the question of the Tam is, what's the big deal that He took us out of Mitzrayim? He promised that He's going to take us out of Mitzrayim. Vayomer aviv toyata. You're making a mistake. Why? Because you think we were there 400 years. No! B'chayzek yad. B'chayzek is 117. Yeah, God told us He can take us out of Mitzrayim, but He could have taken us out of Mitzrayim after 400. Why did He took us out early. He took us out b'chayzek. In other words, the Tam's Kash says, Masois, what are you making such a big deal? He took us out because He told us, no! B'chayzek yad. B'chayzek yad is...
missing a vav. We spelled it a vav, no?
No, it spells it out, but it doesn't need a vav. B'chayzek yad. And then it would be 123. There's no 123. It's 117. Loichin adar. B'chayzek yad hoitzi anashim. B'chayzek machik of yadzayin kloimar. Kol ha'avdos of 400 years. If you're medayik, it's only 117. And Hashem figured out how to get us out in 117 years. Fine. So I got a little curious. What is the makar that we were in Shibud for 117 years? So the Chida says it's in Seder Olam Rabbah. So I figured, let me look it up. Whenever you look things up, good things happen. So I looked up Seder Olam Rabbah, Parag Gimel, and lo and behold, says the Seder Olam, Ve'ein lecha b'chal hashvatim sheherach yamim yoiser mi Levi. B'chal zman shaya Levi kayam loy nishtabdu. Umi shemeis Levi hischilu l'shabdam. Therefore, Chazal say, when one of the brothers die, all the brothers should worry. One of the members of Chabura dies, everyone should worry. Vayakom el chadash nimsa mishameis Levi ad sheyatzu yizom tzayim kuf yud vav shana, exactly 116 years. So it works out beautifully, right?
Plus minus 1.
The only problem is, it's not like what the Chida says. That the Chida says 117 years, and that's why b'chayzek. And if you actually look up the Seder Olam Rabbah, it's 116. Now, if you want to be off by 1, you'll have to be off by 1. But at least the Chida should tell us that it's only 116. So I figured, let me look up other versions of Seder Olam Rabbah. So I looked up. That was in the Tufshin Tes Zayin edition, so that's something published in 1957. But everybody knows that as the generations go on, more and more mistakes crept in. So I looked up the 1905 edition of the Seder Olam Rabbah. And the 1905, lo and behold, Vayakom Melech Chadash, Nimsa Mishemeis Levi, V'yad Sheyatzu Yisom Yimtzem, Kuf Yud Vav Shana. So I said, oh well. It's still 116, but luckily I looked on the bottom and there's a Biur Hagran. The Gra says it's a Tas Sofer. And the Gra says it should be 117. So the Chida probably had an original version that was more correct. The correct version of Seder Olam Rabbah is 117. Yeah? Okay, so let's move on. So far we did the Haggadah of the Chida, Zroya Yamin. Now the Chida wrote another Haggadah. It's called Peh Echad. Vayered Mitzrayim, we went down to Mitzrayim. What does the Haggadah say?
Onus.
Al pi adibar. Don't spoil the thing again. Okay. Onus al pi adibar. I know. I'm giving you credit. I know. Onus al pi adibar. It's my fault. I let it out. I let the cat out of the bag. Onus al pi adibar. Says the Chida in his commentary, Peh Echad. Onus al.
No, it's Gematria.
Gematria Kuf Yud Zayin. Sham Remez Mashakazav Seder Olam. Shemeis Levi Ad Yatzin Usam Kuf Yud Zayin Sham. Krashikasu Bekama Duchti. V'zer Ramos. It says Barashi Tevis. It's not the Rashi Tevis. It's the Gematria. The word Anos is 117. Hanizka Decha Shiva Kuf Yud Zayin Shana. And with this we could explain the question of the Tam. Again, he says the Tam's question is, what's the big Chesed Hashem took us out? He had to take us out. The answer is the Chesed is that He took us out b'choizek yad after 117 years.
So when it says that the new Paro came and they created a problem,
Yeah.
it was after
Levi died.
After Levi died.
Vayamos Yosef v'chol echad. Kol zman she'echad me'ashvatim. Okay.
Right.
Okay, right.
Let's continue. So we were in Mitzrayim 117 years. The same way we said that there is a significance to the fact that we were in Mitzrayim 216. Remember we said 72 times 3 generations. That's why Dar Shlishi, you're allowed to marry of Mitzri because they kept us for 3 generations. Why were we in Mitzrayim 117 years, right? Dvarim Gedolim, Einam b'mikra. Big things are not coincidence. So why Taka were we in Mitzrayim 117 years? So I came across last year a little kuntris called Me'afar Kumi, written by Rabbi Ronen Shaharbani.
Sharabani, yeah. Famous Makubal, Sharabani.
Yeah?
Famous Makubal.
He's a famous
And
Makubal,
he was grandson.
who I don't know who he is. He's in Eretz Yisrael maybe, but I got his kuntras. But I opened it up and I saw something amazing, and I sort of marked it up and I put it away. And a nest happened that I actually remembered that I had something, something from last year. And he quotes the Sefer Or Torah on Parsha Vayesher, Meir Yechiel of Oistravsa, Mamish Go'inas. We know the reason for Shibud Mitzrayim was because we sold who? Yosef. How old was Yosef when we sold him?
17.
Well, Yosef was 17. And how old was he when he became king of Egypt?
39.
He was...
Yeah, 22 years.
He was 30, I think.
30?
30. Yosef ben Shloshim Shana. Well, that means he was in jail for 13 years. And how many of the Shvatim sold Yosef? Well, Reuven was not involved. And Binyamin was not involved. And Yosef also was not involved. So out of the 12 Shvatim, how many of them were involved? 9. And 9 of them are responsible for 13 years of Yosef being in jail. And Morav Rabbi 13 times 9 is... Now, this is not spoiling it if you answer. 117. Come on, everybody. 117.
So 13 years he was in prison.
Prison.
Times the 9 brothers.
Shvatim who were responsible for
30
it.
years total.
So the 13 years that he was in prison times the 9 Shvatim, 117 years. Why were we in time 117 years? Because Mechiras Yosef. Exactly. Says the Oishtravtza, Yisab Medrash, the Gos Mitzrayim Haya Bechet, Mechiras Yosef. Chen Mashman, the Gemara in Shabbos, and the Seder Olam, that as long as Levi was alive, Klal Yisrael was not nishtabed. So from the time of Levi's death until they left Mitzrayim, 117 years. Who says? But it says 116. You got to look at the Graz Girsa. The Graz Girsa is 117 because Levi was 44 when he went down to Mitzrayim. He lived 137 years. 93 minus 210 is what? So let's get that cheshbon. Levi was what? 44 when he came down to Mitzrayim, and 137 years when he died. So he was 93 years in Mitzrayim. And the Shibud did not start until he died. So that means the real Shibud was 210 minus 93 is 117. Says the Oishtravtza, "V'nerli atam sheshibdai koviyai yudzayin shanim," because of Mechiras Yosef. Because at the time of Mechira, there are only 9 Shvatim there. Reuven wasn't there. Binyamin wasn't there. Yosef was an Eved 13 years before he became king. 9 times 13, Marv Rabbi Isai, 117, and look how he ends, V'zeh Pele. It's a wonder, right? If we're not going to say so at least he acknowledged this is Mamish Oyam and Oyam.
When they say Shiva, does that mean when we really had to work very hard?
Yeah.
Until then, things were may not be great, but we weren't.
Yes.
Real
Now, yes.
As compared to the 86 that we learned at Chamush.
We're going to talk about the 86 Monday, Mitzvah Hashem. We'll get back to the 86. So now we have 430, 400, 216, 117, 86. Okay, so in the Sefer Me'afra Kumi, he brings that amazingly when Ruvain came to the bar, it says, Ayashav Ruvain el habar, v'hinei ein Yosef babar, v'yikra es begadav, v'yashav el achiv, v'yomer hayeled, einenu, oh no, einenu! Says Me'afra Kumi, Ruvain was being meramis to his brother because hayeled einenu. We're going to be stuck with Einenu. Einenu, of course, Rabbi says, Gematria, 117. That's how long they were in Mitzrayim. Okay, well, says the Chida in another Haggadah, the third Haggadah for the day. Safa Echas. Safa Echas. Vayered Mitzrayima, Anos Alpi Hadibor. Anos Alpi Hadibor. Efsher. Tibizchus Yaakov Avinu al Vashalom Sheyorad Anos L'Kaim Gzeirasai Lo Haya Hashibur Elakuf Yedzayin Shanim Kemismar Anos. That may be another way of looking at it is Yaakov went down only because Hashem said so. He didn't ask questions, how could I go? I don't want to leave Eretz Yisrael. Hashem told him to go. I'm Anos. Hashem says, you follow my word as if you're Anos, 117, then all you have to be there is 117 years. Says Chida Oyam and Oira. If you look in the Sefer Masei Keach in the beginning of Shabbos, he tries to explain how many psukim are in Shir Shiurim. 117. And we know Shir Shiurim speaks about Gulas Mitzrayim. And we know Leil Seder after the Haggadah we read Shir Shiurim. We know on Shabbos Chalmud we read Shir Shiurim. Shir Shiurim has how many psukim? 117. And everybody wants to know, why does Shir Shiurim have 117 psukim? You know why Shir Shiurim has 117 psukim? Because guess how long we were in Mitzrayim for, based on the Seder Olam Rabbah, based on the Gersa of the Gra, 117 years. Gematria Anos, Gematria Einenu, Gematria B'choizek Yad. That's how many psukim are in Shir Shiurim. Not only because Shlomo violated 3 times La Yarbe, La Yarbe, La Yarbe, Malchus, 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 but also because that's how long we were in Mitzrayim. He gives a reason why Shlomo said 117 psukim Shir Shiurim, and why we say it on Shabbos. He says beautiful things. But says the Chida, by the way, the Chida's yard site I believe is coming up. V'lanu, v'ani yosenu, efshar lirmois, ki Shir Shiurim, medaber begulas Mitzrayim. Shir Shiurim talks about the Gula. The Nemar b'Pesach. V'remez sheyesh by kuf yud zayim psukim b'mispar shanim sheyashavnu b'galos, like it says in Seder Olam. Uva haremez b'psukim loymar shenifsiku shnoi sagzah taflamet shana. Instead of being in Mitzrayim 430 years, v'nasu redu. Really, it became 210. And then v'yacham redu nasu kuf yud zayin. V'zel psukim shnei piskois hayu. Says the Chida. Say, why is there a remez in the psukim of Shir Shiurim? To teach that God made it years that are shortened, chopped up, psukim, years that are pasak. V'loi hayu b'galos ki elo kuf yud zayin k'mosh nemar. So you'll ask, what's the significance of 117? We know Midas Hadin is what? 86.
Elokim.
But how do you say Elokim is 86? Okay. Even though, somebody once went to a Tish, and they said, what do you hear in the Tish? The Rebbe is saying 86 Elokim. He said, I don't understand, the Kuf alone is 100. Yeah? But 86, Elokim is 86. But what's 117? We know Kael is Midas HaChesed.
31.
Chesed Kael Kol Hayom. Kael is 31. and Kale
86.
and Elikim, guess what they add up to?
78, yeah.
117. Says the Chida. He says, that was good. The Efsher, Lirma is the Shem Elikim Midas Hadin. The Gavru Racham of Yisparach, the Hifli Chazdai Yisrael, Avdu v'tzirev Shem Kel Shu Chesed al Shem Elikim Midas Hadin Lamate Kadinim. V'haya Mispar Kel Elikim Kuf Yedzayin. V'chein Yatsu b'Kuf Yedzayin Shana den Etztarif Midas Chesed Kel Im Elikim. Or
Could add Yud Kei Vav Kei even less years.
what?
Could they should add Yud Kei Vav Kei even less years in Mitzrayim? 26 only instead of 31.
You can't have your cake and eat it. Just be happy that we got out.
Be 5 years less. Be 5 years less than 31.
Let's see one more thing that he says. He says, "V'haya mispar kela kifine inami avshalimos." Rabbeinu Ashkenaz say that we know the number 430 is 5 times Elikim, and the real intent Shibud was 86 years from the time Miriam was born, Kaminyan Elikim, and Hashem changed over 4 Elikims to Midas Harachamim, Daled Havayas, Ukeneged Daled Kaisais, V'Daled Geulais. So let's learn like this. Ki kol ma she'yishan v'golos miptiras Levi, who was the last of the Shvatim, was 117 years. So calculate the Shem Elikim, which is the Koshi Ashibud, the Shem Havaya. So what's 86 plus Yud Kei Vav Kei?
111. Wait, 112.
112. Plus another 4, Keneged the Dalet Havayos, instead of the 4 Elikims. V'yama Koilo, you get 117. In other words, you wanted to use the trick of the Yud Kei Vav Kei to get out early.
Should mean Rachamim. What's the trick?
So you could 26.
Take 5 years.
26 plus 86 is 112. Plus the 4 Havayos that were transformed from Elikim, plus the Shem Koilo. That's 117. But we'll stick with the first one. The first one is very good. Kel, Elikim is 117. So now, Rabbi said, like we said Wednesday night, if one, like the same, remember we said, if 216 is such a significant number, then at least, right, we said that there should be a remez somewhere in the Haggadah, and we said, where's the best place to be Marame is 216, the very first words of the Haggadah Shel Pesach, which are, Ha Lachma Anya, which is Gematria 216. Well, now that we're saying 117, well, you would expect then that if 117 is such a prominent number, after all, 9 times 13, and Kel Elokim, plus Einenu, plus B'choizek Yad, plus Anos Al Pi Hadibur, you would expect, we should get some serious real estate for the number 117. Well, says the Chida, like we said on Wednesday, there is no better real estate than the very first words of the Haggadah Shel Pesach. What are the first words of the Haggadah Shel Pesach? Ha Lachmanu, but we said Ha Lachmanu is 216. You can't. It's one thing if we said it a month ago, then but we just said it. Well, says the Chida in 2 more Haggadahs. So we did 5 Haggadahs of the Chida, Keneged the 5 Elikims, which are 430. We did Zroya Yamin, and we did Peh Echad, and we did Safa Akas. Now we're adding the Haggadah of the Chida, Geulas Oilam, and the Haggadah of the Chida, Batei HaNefesh. Says the Heilige Chida, Halachma Anya Diacholu Avasana Ba'arad Mitzrayim. Hey, Lamed, Ayin, Daled, Aleph, Beis, Daled, Rashi Tevos, 35, 105, 109, 110, 111, 113, 117. Rashi Tevos Elu Gematria Kuf Yedzayin Sham Remez Ki Haggalos Shel Mitzrayim Haya Kuf Yud Zayin Shana, like Rabbi Lezer Migarmaiza writes in the Ksav Yad and the Seder Olam. It says 116, the Gersa, the Grav, and Cain, Shaper No Gematria Zu, Ki, these are the years of Mitzrayim. And we have to do a 5th Haggadah. The Chida says it in the Sefer Batei HaNefesh. The Afshar L'Rama is the Rashi Tevos, Halach Ma'anya, Diachala, Vasan Ba'arad Mitzrayim, Begematria Kuf Yud Zayin. Yatmin Beremez, that the Shibud was 117 years, like it says in Seder Olam, that after the Petira of Levi, that all the Shvatim died, there were 117 years. Rabbi Sai, during those 117 years, who was with us in our Tsar Who felt our pain? Who is together with us? Imay anoichi b'tzara. Imay. 117. I 116. Imay koilo is 117. Imay anoichi b'tzara is also 117. So if you wanted to know what kind of real estate do the numbers get, halach ma'anya gematria 216. Halach ma'anya di'achola avasana ba'ara d'Mitzrayim is Rashi Tevos 117. And one more thing, we have a Messiah who wrote the Haggadah. Rav Simcha Bunami Prishuska says the Haggadah was written by none other than Eliyahu Hanavi, but the author has to sign his name in the beginning. That's right. Ha! Eliyahu Hanavi Taka Yavai Vigalenu V'mher Yameinu Amen. Agin Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.